I'm going to jump straight into something which is unprecedented. But talking of flowers, I want to get straight into the subject with you of dissecting.
Ooh.
For those of you who don't know who dissecting is, Google that shit. And how they, as a group, as a rap group in the 90s, spawned the new culture of Timberlands, of baggy slacks, army fatigue, with baseball caps and a bit of ragamuffin to go with it. Straight up suicide, which then transcended into pop culture, transcended into E17, All Saints. Do you mean the levels are mad?
But you know what's mad? The whole Timberland thing, right? The first guy that I saw wearing a pair of Timberland 40 Belows was Chris Lighty, may he rest in peace, the head of Violator, right? Okay, legend in the game. Okay, for those who don't know, Chris Lighty, you really got to know about that. You know what I mean?
Comment below, Google that shit.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Headed up Violator management, and all that kind of stuff. Had
Notorious
so many people under.
Violator.
Yeah, absolutely right. Came out of the hood, hence the name Violators, and generally messing stuff up. But he wore on the back cover of the Jungle Brothers, What You Waiting For, he had the 40 Belows that we attribute to Das Effects, right? So he had those. And I was always going, what are those? Because the thing is, the Timberlands that we could get in this country, if you could find them, they were a 6-inch wheat boot. Right?
They always had a long front as well. And shit like that.
Right? Do you know what I mean? So, and it was like that crazy thing. And back then, the price of Timberlands, Timberlands have generally stayed pretty much similar in relative terms. Maybe even cheaper now than they were back then.
You reckon,
Yeah. You give or take inflation and all that kind of stuff. But he was the first one I saw that wore those. But then when you look at the Ultramagnetic, right, Funk Your Head Up album cover.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Said G, TR Love, and Mo Love are wearing 40 Belows. Right? Okay, and Kool Keith is wearing another pair of Timberlands. Now I have those Timberlands that Kool Keith is wearing, right? I don't know what the name is, right? But it was a mad one when I found those on a trip to New York in '94.
Wow.
Right, yeah. But
still boxed.
No, I wore them and I don't know where they are. I haven't thrown anything away. I don't know what condition they're in, but they're still there.
Throwing anything away.
No. Archive business.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's funny that you should say that. Now, also when you look at the Showbiz and AG Fat Pockets video, right? You see AG and I think Show wearing M65 jackets, right? Right, yeah, the big army ones like that. Yeah,
badass.
Boom. But Das Effects were the ones who put all those elements together and made it slightly, swaggy. Do you know what I mean?
Swaggy. Yeah.
Right?
The Timberlands, they're well rendered after years. Like nowadays, I think they do start getting a bit. But the original ones of the night, they just hold.
Yeah. There's some classic styles. You know what I mean? All the way up to the World Hikers, which you've got, and a few other ones as well. The Dita rods, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You're talking about top line business, and Timberland was at the apex of the footwear business. Mad thing is though, I think Timberland only came into inception from the Abington Footwear Company as a brand, as a sub brand. I think in 1973.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, which is crazy. But yeah, Abington, the shoes and the boots, etc. As a company, been going way back.
So what class would you put? Class as in like Adidas were notoriously known alongside Run DMC, but that was because of the time. Adidas weren't, and I don't think this is because Run DMC wore them, of course, but they were more the working class sneaker, and Run DMC funked them up, made them fucking sick.
Yeah, but you know what it is? Run DMC were taking their style from the D-Boys, right? And you got to remember Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. He was always a bit on that side of things as well, which sadly caught up with him. But the thing is that the reason why Run DMC wore their shell toes without laces is because in prison you don't have laces in your shoes in case you try to hang yourself or do some crazy stuff. Do you know what I mean, right? So the shoes in the prisons in America or in New York, say, they didn't have shoelaces.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then I think what happened is when people came out of the pen, they still had that sort of conditioning within them, and they were wearing their
institutionalized
shoes.
a bit.
Yeah, sort of brainwashed kind of styles. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's why they wore their shoes unlaced. And then that was a thing that Run DMC took from and they brought it there. The double goose jackets that you see Run DMC wearing like that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because the drug dealers had them. The thing is, when you look at any of the style trends that are going on, it's the guys with the money, to flush, shall we say, to like wash, that set the trends.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking at, say, why the Adidas Forum, for example, in 1984, the most expensive basketball shoe at that time and the most technologically advanced basketball shoe, so much so that Michael Jordan was wearing that shoe in his final career of college and was going to sign to Adidas before the whole deal, I'll talk to you about it in a sec, broke down, right? The dudes who were wearing those shoes were the drug dealers. So in Boston, for example, in the Boston drug dealers, they were wearing Adidas Forums because they're like $120 shoe in 84. Crazy.
Because they got money.
Yes, exactly. When you look at like New Balance in Delaware and in Washington and that sort of area, right? It's because of the money. New Balance are the top line sneakers, and that's why they were wearing them. Do you know what I mean? It's a crazy thing.
And slacks, baggy slacks falling down towards the bottom of your arse. I guess that's because in jail they don't have belts. Man, it's weird, isn't it? You can't take the jungle out of the cat, as Jerry once said.
Hey, that's a wicked lyric, my G.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can't expect people to, once institutionalised, that will leak into, even if they had the biggest amount of money.
Exactly.
And it makes it cool.
Yeah. That's right. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when you look at things over here, right? Okay, the advent of garage, right? The Air Max Plus, for example, right? I was already wearing Air Max Plus.
Garage was like they were all like that.
Yeah, and they're all blinged out, and they're all wearing Versace and all this kind of stuff, and boom. It's because, like, you know, how did they get to where they got to? Do you know what I mean, right?
Well, you think it was drug dealer based?
They have to. They want to wear the most expensive stuff, and of course they do. You know, all the dudes that I grew up with back home in Aylesbury, you know, they always had the money, and they always were the top things. You know, that's what it came down to. Even if they weren't on the hip hop flex and they started going on the housey tip and they were wearing Patrick Cox loafers and all that kind of stuff, not my look at all ever. But that was money. Right? Ted Baker shirts, all that kind of stuff. Money. YSL shirts, you know what I mean? Polo shirts, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
I'll take the polo crew.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that's what it came down to.
Do you think a lot of people back in the day, this is a social question as much as a creative one. Do you think a lot of people that were in the rap genres of the time would wear the things they wear as a nod to the mystique of them being like slightly underground and edgy and street, or do you think it was to pander to the people that were, you know, to
Okay, put it this way, right?
I mean, if
you're watching your football team, right, you're not wearing the other team's colours, are you?
True.
Right? So if you're on the street, even if you aren't up to naughty things, or if you're affiliated with them, you're going to all dress the same, or, you know, or be influencing each other. You know, that's what it comes down to. So I don't think it's an aspiration of trying to be like that because of that. I think it's like, I think that's a cool look, and you know, I'm gonna go with it.
And that becomes our look.
Yeah, exactly.
Signifying what we are.
Yeah, but then adds its own twist to it as well. You know, but I mean, the thing is, right? Hip hop, you know, it's that, you know, it sort of adds that twist, you know, especially in this country as well, with the influences that we've had when we were growing up. You know, hip hop was like, you know, so sort of like intertwined, as it were, with, you know, the two-tone culture, with reggae, you know, with the punk movement and all that kind of stuff in the 70s and permeating through into the 80s. You know, Malcolm McLaren, obviously, we give it up to him because he put a lot of people on.
Give the flowers out.
Right, exactly. You know, and he really took it there. And that whole thing and how we reinterpret things is very, very interesting.